My in-laws let me cover their $11,000 first-class flight and luxury hotel stay. Then my husband said, "We need to talk. I want a divorce." My ML shrugged. "You were always temporary." I walked away, but an hour later, they called me screaming because I'm still trying to process everything, and honestly, writing this is the only thing keeping me from losing it. So, here's what happened. It's long, but every part of it still makes me shake. This isn't a joke or a story I made up. This is my real life. My husband, let's call him Caleb, and I have been married for 7 years. Together for 10. I'm in my late 30s, and I've spent most of my adult life working my way up in the finance sector in New York. I didn't come from money, but I was careful, smart, and I saved. I never lived flashy, but I did well enough to buy a small condo in Manhattan before I even met Caleb. He came from a very different background. His parents had debt, moved around a lot, lived off credit cards and excuses. I never judged them for it. I thought love meant being patient and supportive. Turns out I was just being used. In October, Caleb told me he wanted to take his parents to Japan. His dad had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and things weren't looking good. Caleb said it was his last big wish to see Tokyo. I'll admit, I hesitated. Flights were expensive. Hotels even more so. But I cared about Caleb. I cared about his dad. I wanted to do something meaningful. So I agreed. Then I offered to pay 3 first-class tickets from JFK to Narita. Me, Caleb, his mom, and his dad. It cost me $11,000. That's not including what I spent booking 7 nights at the Palace Hotel Tokyo, which was Caleb's mom's dream hotel because she saw it in a movie once. That stay alone ran close to $9,000 with all the taxes and fees. I also took time off work, made restaurant reservations, planned out day trips, and paid for a private guide in Kyoto. Everything. I even prepaid most meals. The plan was to make it stress-free for everyone. And it was for everyone except me. From the moment we landed, I was treated like a wallet with legs. His mom acted like she was on a royal tour, snapping her fingers at hotel staff, ordering the most expensive things on every menu. Spa treatments, room service, silk kimonos, all charged to our suite. She'd smirk and say, "It's on you, right? You're the rich one." His dad was quieter. Nicer, at least. But he still let it all happen. Never once did they offer to pay for anything. Not one meal. Not a cab. Nothing. Caleb kept saying, "Let them enjoy it, babe. It means a lot." I bit my tongue. Again and again. The 6th night, everything broke. We were at the hotel bar. Caleb looked off. I thought he was overwhelmed or tired. We had been moving around a lot. I asked if he was okay. That's when he said it. "We need to talk when we get back home. I want a divorce." At first, I laughed. I thought it was a bad joke. He just looked at me. Calm. Cold. Like it was nothing. "I've been unhappy for a long time," he said. I didn't want to say anything before the trip. That would have ruined it. I figured we might as well go through with it. One last thing, you know. I couldn't even speak. I just stared at him. He added, "I'm not in love with you anymore." I haven't been for a while. I still didn't react. Not right away. My brain shut off. Then, like some sick punchline, his mom walked up. She saw my face, then looked at Caleb. "Oh, did you tell her?" she said. He nodded. She shrugged. "You were always temporary." That's all she said. Like I was a disposable employee at some job they never respected. I got up. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I walked out of the bar, went back to the room, and packed my things while they were still downstairs. I left a note on the desk, "Enjoy the rest of the trip. On me. Since I'm just temporary." I checked out quietly. Moved to a cheaper hotel nearby. Turned off my phone. I sat on the bed and stared at the wall for an hour. Then I turned my phone back on. 17 missed calls. 36 text messages. From Caleb. His mom. His dad. Even his sister back home. All blowing up my phone. Apparently, they had just found out that the hotel room was no longer paid for. When I checked out, I asked the hotel to cancel all guest access and room charges under my name. I told them I was no longer responsible for anyone else staying there. Since the room was booked under my card and everything was funneled through my name, the staff complied. They ran the numbers and saw $6,800 in charges over the last 5 days that hadn't been settled. Guess who they turned to? Caleb and his parents. When they realized they were suddenly on the hook for everything, spa charges, room service, alcohol, minibar, they freaked out. His dad tried to use his card. Declined. His mom screamed at the concierge. Screamed at the front desk. Yelled that this was a mistake and that I'd never abandoned family. She was escorted out of the lobby. The hotel gave them 1 hour to figure it out or police would be contacted for fraud. That's when they started blowing up my phone like the building was on fire. Caleb left a voicemail, please call me back. This isn't funny. His mom texted, you vindictive little girl. We're your family. His dad actually said, please. This is humiliating. I have cancer. Don't do this. I didn't reply. Caleb finally messaged, if you come back and fix this, we can talk. Maybe we can work something out. That's when I knew he was never going to stop using me. So I replied, you wanted a divorce. This is me starting early. Then I blocked every single one of them. No, I didn't go back. I stayed at my new hotel for the night. I booked an economy flight home and left the next day. No goodbye. What they don't know is I already started the paperwork. I contacted a lawyer the minute I got back. I kept every receipt, every message. I also have a prenup Caleb forgot about, one that protects me from his debts and entitles me to compensation if he cheats or lies about joint expenses. Oh, and I checked our joint account? He had been transferring small amounts over to his sister's account for months. I'm collecting the evidence. And I'm going to make him explain every dollar. I don't know where they are now. Maybe they paid. Maybe they begged the embassy. Maybe they're still sitting in the lobby wondering how it all went sideways. I don't care. When I got back to New York, I thought I'd feel relief. I thought walking out would make the weight disappear. But the second I stepped into our apartment, my apartment that he moved into when we got married, I saw all the signs I'd been ignoring. There was a half-packed suitcase by the closet. He wasn't supposed to be back yet. He still had 2 more days in Tokyo. But Caleb beat me back. I stood in the doorway and just stared. His shoes were kicked off by the door. His coat tossed over the couch. Some of his stuff was missing from the dresser drawers, but most of it was still there. Like he had planned to come back, just not to me. There was a strange quiet. Like the apartment was waiting for me to realize something. That night, I started digging. I logged into our joint bank account. The transfers to his sister's account, those small $50 and $75 transactions I thought were harmless, helping out family, moves, added up to more than $4,000 in the last year. They weren't going to her. They were going to someone named Talia. I only found that name because one of the transfers was tagged with a note that said, T's birthday weekend, love. That was my breaking point. I went through our credit card statements. There were flights to Miami I never took. Hotel bookings I never heard about. A spa in Chicago. Dinner at Nobu while I was on a business trip in Atlanta. Everything clicked. He had someone else. I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I got a pen, a notebook, and I started writing every date, every charge, every cent. I sent it all to my lawyer the next morning. That afternoon, Caleb walked in like nothing happened. He had his phone in one hand, a Starbucks cup in the other. He froze when he saw me on the couch. You're back, he said, like he lived here and I was the guest. I didn't move. I didn't even blink. He sighed, like he was the victim. Look, I didn't want to hurt you. I felt trapped. You don't understand how hard it is, being the one who doesn't make as much. You're always in control. I asked him calmly, who's Talia? His whole face changed. His eyes shifted. He actually looked scared for a second. Then he tried to lie. She's just a friend. I slid the printed statements across the table. Highlighted. Annotated. Every date. Every lie. You used our money. You lied to me. You took your mistress to Miami while I was helping your mom through surgery. He didn't deny it. He just said, I didn't think you'd find out. That told me everything I needed to know. Then came the twist I wasn't ready for. The next morning, I got a call from his mother. I thought she was going to yell at me again. Instead, she was sobbing. Please, she said, please, I didn't know about Talia. I swear, if I knew, I never would have gone along with it. I didn't respond. She kept talking. Said Caleb had been talking to someone for almost 2 years. That he told them he was trapped in a marriage with a cold, money-hungry woman who looked down on him. She said his dad was furious. That he threatened to cut him off, whatever that meant, since his dad didn't have anything to give. Then she dropped another bomb. I think he's trying to move money out of your accounts. I overheard him talking to someone about wiring funds to Mexico. I thought it was business stuff, but I don't know anymore. I hung up. Then I called the bank. She was right. 2 wire transfers had been scheduled. One for $3,500. Another for $5,200. Both pending. I canceled them. Then I froze the joint account. Changed my own passwords. Put alerts on everything. Locked my credit. Texted my lawyer again. He called me later, furious. How do you freeze our account? I have things I need to pay. I told him to take it up with his cold, money-hungry wife. He went silent. That was 3 days ago. Today, I got an email from someone I didn't recognize. Subject line, you don't know me, but I know your husband. The email started with, my name is Jasmine. I've been seeing Caleb for about 6 months. He told me you were separated and that you agreed to let him figure things out. He said you lived in different cities. She attached screenshots, texts, pictures. He took her to the same sushi place in the East Village where we had our 3rd anniversary. She even sent a picture of them in our apartment. My couch, my blanket. My God. I haven't responded yet. I don't know what to say. What I do know is I'm done being calm. And I'm not finished with him yet. I didn't respond to Jasmine right away. I just stared at the photo of her curled up on my couch like she belonged there. My throw blanket over her lap. The same blanket Caleb once said smelled like home. I forwarded it all to my lawyer. The next morning, I walked into Caleb's office building. Not to see him. To talk to HR. I walked in like I had a meeting. They asked if I had an appointment. I said I was there to speak with someone from compliance. I used that word on purpose. Every finance company takes that word seriously. They brought someone out from risk management. I showed them everything. The travel, the wire transfers, the charges to company cards I suspected he used for personal trips. I laid it all out. I wasn't sure how much of it broke company policy, but I knew enough to raise questions. The woman I met with didn't say much. Just kept flipping through the documents. When she got to the screenshot Jasmine sent me, Caleb in our apartment, holding a glass of champagne with a company laptop visible on the table, she raised an eyebrow. I appreciate you bringing this to our attention, she said. I left. I didn't wait around. I wasn't trying to get him fired. But if he was going to lie to me, steal from me, humiliate me, then maybe he shouldn't be handling company finances either. That afternoon, Caleb showed up at the apartment. He was calm, but fake calm. The kind where you can tell someone's trying really hard not to lose it. You wanted my job? He asked. I didn't say anything. Do you want to destroy my life? He asked again. I told him I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped letting you do it to mine. He didn't yell. He just shook his head. Like I had let him down. Then he said the weirdest thing. You don't know what you're doing. You're making enemies. I laughed. I don't need to make enemies, I said. I already married mine. He left. Later that night, Jasmine texted me again. This time, she said she needed to talk in person. She sounded scared. We met at a Starbucks. She was young. Maybe 26. She looked nervous. Her hands shook. She told me Caleb said I was emotionally abusive. That I controlled him with money. That I belittled him. He told her I demanded an open marriage and that I was the one who started seeing someone else. I didn't think I was the other woman, she said. He said you were the cheater. I showed her the prenup. The bank records. The wire transfer to Mexico. She looked sick. Then she told me something I didn't expect. He'd asked her for a favor, to open a bank account in her name, using her address, so he could hide some money from his ex. He said you were trying to bleed him dry. She showed me the texts. It was all there. I asked if she still had the paperwork. She did. She had already started it. I asked her to forward me everything. Every document. Every message. She did. Then she said something else. You're not the only wife. I blinked. What? He married someone else in 2017. Before you. I told her that was impossible. We were married in 2016. No, I'm serious, she said. Her name was Layla. I found her when I was trying to stalk his old social media accounts. They got married in Vegas. There's pictures. The dates don't match up. One of them must be fake. I think he committed fraud. My skin went cold. I went home, pulled out our marriage certificate, and started digging. That night, I found 2 different marriage licenses registered under his name. One in New York. One in Nevada. Overlapping dates. I sent them both to my lawyer. She called me 10 minutes later. Do not confront him. Not yet. We need to handle this right. Apparently, this could change the entire nature of our divorce. If he was legally married to someone else when we signed our license, our marriage might be void. Which means the prenup might be invalid. But here's the catch that might work in my favor. Because all of his access to my assets was only possible because we were legally married. If that marriage is invalid, we never had joint rights. Which means everything in my name goes untouched. But it also means we were never really married. 10 years of my life, and it may have all been fake. It's been 4 days since I found the second marriage record. I haven't told him I know. I've stopped replying to his messages. He came by the apartment again this morning. Banged on the door for a full 10 minutes. I didn't answer. He left a note taped to the door. You can't hide behind lawyers forever. He's wrong. I'm not hiding. I'm getting ready. I waited a few days before reaching out to the other wife. Her name was Layla, just like Jasmine said. I found her Instagram. Private, but her profile picture showed her standing on a beach, laughing with a man whose face was mostly turned. But I recognized the shoulders. The posture. Caleb. I messaged her. I kept it short. Hi. I think we need to talk. I believe we were both married to the same man at the same time. She read it an hour later. No reply. The next morning, she responded. I knew you'd come eventually. That line hit me hard. Like she'd been waiting for the other shoe to drop for years. We met in a quiet park in Brooklyn. She wore sunglasses and barely looked at me at first. Then she handed me a copy of her marriage certificate. Vegas. April 2015. Mine was dated June 2016. We sat in silence for a long time. Finally, she said, he told me you were a visa wife. That you just needed papers. He said it was a business arrangement. I nearly choked. I asked her if she was still with him. No, she said. Not since 2019. He cleaned out my savings. Told me he was starting a business. Then ghosted me for 2 months. When he came back, he said he'd been in rehab. I didn't know about you until now. I showed her my certificate. She stared at it. Then she laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was broken. He didn't even wait a year. She gave me her contact info, then said she'd testify if needed. I sent everything to my lawyer. She told me it was time to bring everything out in the open. So I did. I invited Caleb to a restaurant. Neutral ground. Told him I was ready to talk things through. I even said I might consider settling without lawyers. He agreed right away. He walked in like he won something. Wearing his smug little blazer, a cheap smirk on his face. He sat across from me, ordered a drink, and said, I'm glad you're being reasonable. I said, I'm not. But I am being thorough. Then I slid the copies across the table. Layla's certificate. Mine. Pictures. Dates. The emails. Jasmine's texts. The bank statements. Everything. He stopped smiling. He tried to talk, but I didn't let him. You stole from me. You lied to me. You lied to her. You lied to the other one. And you're done. His face turned pale. He reached for the papers. I pulled them back. I've already sent everything to my lawyer. Oh, and your HR department. You'll probably hear from both by Monday. He tried to laugh it off. This is ridiculous. You're being emotional. That's when Layla stepped out from the back of the restaurant. She had waited in the kitchen with Jasmine, who also came. I wanted him to see every woman he had lied to, standing there, not taking it anymore. Layla didn't say a word. She just stared at him. Jasmine, though? She stepped forward and slapped him. People turned to look. A waiter froze mid-step. Another customer gasped. Caleb looked around like he was the victim. You ruined our lives, she said. You're a fraud. He stood up. This is harassment. I said, then sue me. We're not your victims anymore. You don't get to control the story. He looked around again, trying to decide how to handle it. Then he stormed out. He knocked over a chair. Didn't pay for his drink. Left like a coward. He tried to spin it. Sent emails. Left voicemails saying we were the problem. That we were crazy and jealous. Said I was just bitter and trying to ruin him because I couldn't handle being left. I didn't reply. Layla blocked him. Jasmine moved to another state. HR opened an investigation. I don't know exactly what happened, but I know from a friend who still works in his office that Caleb is on leave while they review allegations of financial misconduct. He might lose his job. He deserves to. There were days I felt numb. Days I felt like a fool. Like the entire relationship was a performance and I was just a background character in my own life. But I also felt something else. Relief. It's strange. You'd think finding out your marriage was a lie would crush you. And yeah, it did. At first. But then I realized I was free. Free from the manipulation. From the subtle gaslighting. From the feeling of always being one step behind a man who acted like he had nothing, yet took everything. I thought I was building a life with someone. Turns out I was funding his fantasy. Now? I'm rebuilding. Slowly. I closed the joint accounts. Changed my number. Kept the apartment. I put his crap in storage and shipped it to whatever P.O. box he gave his lawyer. I haven't heard from him since. Layla and I still talk sometimes. We joke that we should send each other alimony instead. Jasmine's doing okay too. She sent me a photo from her new apartment with the caption, "Finally a place that's all mine." Me? I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. I learned that silence can be loud. That walking away is a full sentence. And that people will show you who they are if you stop making excuses long enough to see it. I don't know what's next. But for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid to find out.